This is a question that everyone has in 2024. Will there be a housing market crash? Will there be a housing market crash? Let's talk about this. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is a channel where, as you know, we discuss all things real estate, first-time home buyers, second-time home buyers, real estate investors, home sellers. It doesn't matter. Any affiliation with real estate, this is the channel you want to be on. Do me a favor, if you are finding my content valuable and entertaining, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so that way you can keep up with all of our new content. All right, now let's talk about this. Before we jump into will there be a housing market crash, we have to understand what a housing market crash means. A housing market crash happens when home prices drop significantly. When the home prices drop, this typically causes a downturn in the real estate market. Now, we all remember 2008. If you weren't alive for it, you probably heard about it. You've read about it somewhere. In 2008, it was called the Great Recession, right? So what caused the Great Recession in 2008? To make a long story short, it was risky lending practices. In other words, lenders were extremely lenient in their mortgage process, meaning they were allowing people to buy homes who truly couldn't afford homes. They were giving loans to people who didn't have the best credit, who didn't necessarily have the income to afford the home. So this in turn caused thousands, hundreds of thousands of foreclosures to happen in the real estate market. Now, when you're dealing with that many foreclosures at one time, this causes home prices to go down. As you know, foreclosures usually happen at a discounted rate. So of course, that's going to bring neighborhood values down. And because there were so many foreclosures, this in turn caused a downward shift in home values, which caused the Great Recession, the housing market crash in 2008. Now, how does that relate to the housing market today? I chose to highlight the 2008 market so that way we could compare the mortgage lending practices from 2008 to the mortgage lending practices today. Now, in 2008, as I said, mortgage lenders caused a pure financial disaster. The lenders were basically chasing short-term profits. They were giving, once again, people homes with weak credit scores and weak income checks. And once again, because the people did not have a good history of paying back their credit in the past and they didn't have the income to support the mortgage, once again, that's how the foreclosures happen. So I just want to reinforce that to make sure you understand. Now, today, the mortgage market operates under much stricter mortgage lending practices, much stricter. If you've ever purchased a home, you know that the lender is all in your business. They are all in it. And the lessons learned from the past have ensured that borrowers can repay the loan. So now the mortgage practice includes thorough income verification. They want W-2s, pay stubs. They go through your bank account to see what's going on with the funds. Why was your bank account negative here? Where did this money come from? Where did that deposit come from? Where is that withdrawal going? What are you doing with your money? Do you have any things like child support, alimony, things that you're paying? Back in 2008, that did not happen. And of course, in today's market, they are doing much stricter credit checks. At a bare minimum, you want to have a score of 620. That's the ideal number to get you pre-approved for a home. Now, let's take a look at this chart here. In 2008, there were approximately 1.3 million foreclosures. Just let that marinate. 2008, 1.3 million foreclosures. Now, in 2023, last year, there were only 186,000. That is a major difference. And once again, the reason being, mortgage lenders have taken their lending process to another level. It is much stricter. So this chart right here alone proves why there most likely will not be a housing market crash in the near future. The only way that could happen is if foreclosures shoot through the roof. I mean, there's always a possibility, but is it likely based on the data? No. Now, while we're talking about housing market crash, we have to talk about the law of supply and demand. That's what real estate is all about. That's what the economy is all about. So the basic law of supply and demand states when there's too much of something and not enough people want it, prices go down. If more people want something than there is available, then prices go up. We have to use the example from COVID. Do you remember when tissue could not be found, hand sanitizer could not be found, the prices went through the roof? That's because the supply was low, but the demand was high. Everyone wanted tissue and hand sanitizer. So right now in the USA, there are more buyers than homes available. Once again, the law of supply and demand. So because the supply is low and the demand is high, what does that mean? That means home prices are going through the roof. Housing experts generally consider 5 to 7 months of housing inventory a balanced market. So where are we today? Right now in Virginia, we have about 2 months worth of housing inventory, and the United States as a whole has about 2.9 months of housing inventory. So what did I say before? Housing experts consider 5 to 7 months of inventory a balanced market. So as you can see, 2 months of inventory and 2.9 months of inventory is really below the threshold. So that's why the housing market is not balanced right now. This means that demand is high and supply is low. Once again, it all goes back to the law of supply and demand. So the question is, what happened to all of the homes? Were more people just born in the United States? What happened? Of course more people were born, but there is one specific thing that has happened, and I believe a lot of people can agree when we talk about this, and the answer is hedge funds. In simple terms, a hedge fund is a big group of investors who take big risks, such as investing, to make a lot of profit. So what does that mean? In other words, groups of investors came in and started purchasing homes, snatching up inventory, and they used them as rentals. They were landlords so they could make a profit. So let's take a look at just a little bit of data about hedge funds before we actually end this video. According to data in 2011, no single hedge fund owned more than 1,000 homes. No single hedge fund in 2011. As of June 2022, hedge funds and larger investment corporations are said to have owned 574,000 residential single-family homes. Let me run that by you again. Hedge funds and larger investing corporations have been said to own over 574,000 single-family and residential homes for rental properties alone. In my opinion, families should not have to compete against hedge funds to be able to purchase a home. Hedge funds have way more money than most single families, so it's not fair for buyers to have to compete for single family homes and places to live. It just does not make sense. By prohibiting hedge funds from the single family housing market, that obviously allows more families to get into single families. There have been bills passed that will hopefully stop these hedge funds from buying up the single family inventory. So in conclusion, with supply being as tight as it is and demand being as high as it is, and with lenders being way more strict on their lending practices, I personally do not see a housing crash happening in the near future. And I often tell people, when you do say you want the housing market to crash, you have to think about what that means. This means thousands or hundreds of thousands of people have went into foreclosure. So you have to think about what you're saying. Or do you really want hundreds of thousands of people to lose their homes because they can't afford it? Probably not. So again, this is why I personally do not believe a housing market crash is going to happen in the near future. Once again, if you found this content valuable or entertaining, anything like that, then please hit the subscribe button. I would love for you to join this real estate family. Once again, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Peace.